Only when I got parallel to them did I see Isaac's face. Tears streamed down his reddened cheeks in a continual flow, his face a taut mask of pain. He stared at the screen, not even glancing at me, and howled, all the while pounding away at his controller. "How are you, Hazel?" asked Augustus. "I'm okay," I said. "Isaac?" No response. Not even the slightest hint that he was aware of my existence. Just the tears flowing down his face onto his black t-shirt. Augustus glanced away from the screen ever so briefly. "You look nice," he said. I was wearing this just-past-the-knees dress I'd had forever. Girls think they're only allowed to wear dresses on formal occasions, but I like a woman who says, I'm going over to see a boy who is having a nervous breakdown, a boy whose connection to the sense of sight itself is tenuous, and gosh dang it, I am going to wear a dress for him. "And yet," I said, "Isaac won't so much as glance over at me. Too in love with Monica, I suppose," which resulted in a catastrophic sob. "Bit of a touchy subject," Augustus explained. "Isaac, I don't know about you, but I have the vague sense that we are being outflanked." And then back to me. "Isaac and Monica are no longer a going concern, but he doesn't want to talk about it. He just wants to cry and play counterinsurgents to the price of dawn." "Fair enough," I said. "Isaac, I feel a growing concern about our position. If you agree, head over to that power station and I'll cover you." Isaac ran toward a nondescript building while Augustus fired a machine gun wildly in a series of quick bursts, running behind him. "Anyway," Augustus said to me, "it doesn't hurt to talk to him, if you have any sage words of feminine advice." "I actually think his response is probably appropriate," I said as a burst of gunfire from Isaac killed an enemy who'd peeked his head out from behind the burned-out husk of a pickup truck. Augustus nodded at the screen. "Pain demands to be felt," he said.
Go ahead and pause and answer number 5.
Which was a line from An Imperial Affliction. "You're sure there's no one behind us?" he asked Isaac. Moments later, tracer bullets started whizzing over their heads. "Oh, God damn it, Isaac," Augustus said. "I don't mean to criticize you in your moment of great weakness, but you've allowed us to be outflanked, and now there's nothing between the terrorists and the school." Isaac's character took off running toward the fire, zigging and zagging down a narrow alleyway. "You could go over the bridge and circle back," I said, a tactic I knew about thanks to the price of dawn. Augustus sighed. "Sadly, the bridge is already under insurgent control due to questionable strategizing by my bereft cohort." "Me?" Isaac said, his voice breathy. "Me? You're the one who suggested we hole up in the freaking power station." Gus turned away from the screen for a second and flashed his crooked smile at Isaac. "I knew you could talk, buddy," he said. "Now let's go save some fictional schoolchildren." Together, they ran down the alleyway, firing and hiding at the right moments, until they reached this one-story, single-room schoolhouse. They crouched behind a wall across the street and picked off the enemy one by one. "Why do they want to get into the school?" I asked. "They want the kids as hostages," Augustus answered. His shoulders rounded over his controller, slamming buttons, his forearms taut, veins visible. Isaac leaned toward the screen, the controller dancing in his thin-fingered hands. "Get it, get it, get it," Augustus said. The waves of terrorists continued, and they mowed down every one, their shooting astonishingly precise, as it had to be, lest they fire into the school. "Grenade! Grenade!" Augustus shouted as something arced across the screen, bounced in the doorway of the school, and then rolled against the door. Isaac dropped his controller in disappointment. "If the bastards can't take hostages, they'll just kill them and claim we did it." "Cover me!" Augustus said as he jumped out from behind the wall and raced toward the school. Isaac fumbled for his controller and then started firing while the bullets rained down on Augustus, who was shot once and then twice but still ran, Augustus shouting, "You can't kill Max Mayhem!" And with a final flurry of button combinations, he dove onto the grenade, which detonated beneath him. His dismembered body exploded like a geyser and the screen went red. A throaty voice said, "Mission failure." But Augustus seemed to think otherwise as he smiled at his remnants on the screen. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a cigarette, and shoved it between his teeth. "Saved the kids," he said.
Go ahead and pause and answer question number 6.
Temporarily, I pointed out. All salvation is temporary. Augustus shot back. I bought them a minute. Maybe that's the minute that buys them an hour, which is the hour that buys them a year. No one's gonna buy them forever, Hazel Grace, but my life bought them a minute, and that's not nothing. Whoa, okay, I said. We're just talking about pixels. He shrugged, as if he believed the game might be really real. Isaac was wailing again. Augustus snapped his head back to him. Another go at the mission, Corporal? Isaac shook his head no. He leaned over Augustus to look at me, and through tightly strung vocal cords said, She didn't want to do it after. She didn't want to dump a blind guy, I said. He nodded, the tears not like tears so much as a quiet metronome, steady, endless. She said she couldn't handle it, he told me. I'm about to lose my eyesight, and she can't handle it. I was thinking about the word handle, and all the unholdable things that get handled. I'm sorry, I said. He wiped his sopping face with a sleeve. Behind his glasses, Isaac's eyes seemed so big that everything else on his face kind of disappeared, and it was just these disembodied floating eyes staring at me, one real, one glass. It's unacceptable, he told me. It's totally unacceptable. Well, to be fair, I said, I mean, she probably can't handle it. Neither can you, but she doesn't have to handle it, and you do. I kept saying always to her today, always, 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 and she just kept talking over me and not saying it back. It was like I was already gone, you know? Always was a promise. How can you just break the promise? Sometimes people don't understand the promises they're making when they make them, I said. Isaac shot me a look. Right, of course. But you keep the promise anyway. That's what love is. Love is keeping the promise anyway. Don't you believe in true love? I didn't answer. I didn't have an answer. But I thought that if true love did exist, that was a pretty good definition of it.
Go ahead and pause and answer questions 7 and 8. Then you need to finish the chapter on your own and answer the questions that follow. Tonight, your homework will be to just make sure that the questions are answered and that you have finished chapter 4. So if you have been on task today and you have your questions answered, you do not need to read any more tonight. So you will have a quick quiz over chapter 4 Monday when you come into class, and then you will be reading chapter 5. So I hope you have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of chapter 4.